Okay, on this one, I'm going to do a little bit more detailed of a sketch because I want it to look like him and be a little more stylistic. And I hope you'll forgive me for making these videos and not knowing what I'm doing. I'm just kind of learning as I go, making these YouTube videos and editing them. But if you stick with this video till near the end, I'm going to show you a trick, a secret to help every single one of your drawings become better. And if you continue to do it, all of your drawings will improve naturally. A lot of people ask me, how long have I been drawing? And the answer is I've been drawing caricatures professionally for about 10 years now. It was in about February of 2013 that I started working at Disney World, drawing caricatures. And I got a lot of experience working in the park. I got to work right next to other artists who had been there for 20 years or 15 years, and I would just watch everything they did and ask questions, and I'd show them my drawings. And another cool thing that would happen is that if there was a slow moment, then we would draw each other. And the main park that we worked at was Disney's Animal Kingdom. Before I did that, I was a truck driver. That's right, I drove trucks up and down the road for many years, but I always knew that I was supposed to be an artist. That's what I wanted to do when I was a kid, but I didn't feel like I could afford to go to art school, and I'm actually very glad I didn't go to art school, because I have friends who went to art school and now they have like $80,000 student loans, and they're not doing art for a living. So I do want to learn the skills that they teach in art school, but I don't want to pay thousands of dollars. An interesting story about how I got started was that way back in 1997, I was doing caricatures as a hobby. I was just drawing from books and playing around in my sketchbook. And one day I found out that my mom was going on a missions trip to Venezuela, her and some friends and some missionaries, evangelists. And she wanted to know if I wanted to come. So I hopped on a plane, my first time ever leaving the country, and we flew to South America, Venezuela, the city of San Cristobal. And this was way back before the problems that are happening right now in Venezuela. But it was still kind of a poor country, or impoverished, and it's sort of like United States back in the 60s or something. There's a lot of people hanging out in the street, sort of like New York City. And the missionaries began to put on a service in the street. These awesome musicians set up their stuff and started playing this awesome music. There was worship music, and the preachers and teachers were getting ready to preach the gospel, and they had speakers set up. And to me, everybody seemed so skilled at what they were doing. You had awesome preachers, you had these awesome musicians, you had awesome singers, and I was just standing there sort of like a bump on a log with not much I could do. And so I pulled out my sketchbook and I just started sketching people. And next thing you know, there was a huge crowd of young people just gathered around me. I was like completely mobbed. You could barely see my head over top of the crowd of people. And And the reason is everybody wanted a drawing and they just loved them. And my drawings, to be honest, were kind of horrible at that point. Not that great. But they were good enough where the people loved them. And I was giving them out for free. And even some of the moms and older people in the neighborhood, they would organize a line for me for people to get drawn. And they started bringing me things like a drink. And I remember somebody brought me like a piece of cake. And I was just drawing people and giving them out for free. And then they preached the gospel there in the street, and it was a beautiful moment. And then I started doing that a lot. I went on a lot of missions trips. And every time I would bring my sketchbook and I would draw people, and it would draw a crowd. And it's sort of like David and Goliath. David brought a sling and 5 stones to fight Goliath, this experienced warrior, but he got the victory. And in the same way, I brought my little sketchbook and drew people. And now, many, many, many years later, I am a full-time artist drawing people for a living. It's almost as if God was paying me back for doing free drawings for those young people in His name. And don't forget, right after I finish this sketch, I am going to show you a trick that will help you improve all your drawings. And it's helping me improve all my drawings because I need improvement big time. One thing I really need to work on is drawing hair. Right here I'm doing like stylized lines to represent curly hair, but I really do need to practice and get better at this. And just so you know, the best book I've found on drawing caricatures, and that includes hair, is The Mad Art of Caricature by Tom Richmond. I highly recommend that book. I've also been to Tom Richmond's weekend workshop a couple of times where he goes over the lessons in his book in detail and he gives specific advice to each student. That's an awesome experience if he's still doing those. Okay, here's the not-so-secret secret about how to improve your drawings. And the secret is to flip the drawing as many times as possible. Okay, I've got the drawing in Procreate on my iPad. First thing I'm going to do is flip the canvas. And immediately you can see that this looks wonky and weird. Flip it back. Like that, it kind of looks okay. But as soon as I flip it, it looks a little out of whack. And you'll notice that with a lot of your drawings, you can flip them and look at them in the mirror, or you can put them in some kind of a digital drawing program and flip them that way. But I'm going to use the liquefy tool to start pushing this around and try to get it to look good from an opposite view. Luckily, it's mostly the curls in his hair that look a little out of whack. Just seems maybe a too high on this side of the head, like it's not balanced, and it's not really out of balance on the photo. That's a little bit better. Let's flip it again and see what it looks like. Now it looks a little better, but maybe a little off here, so we'll move it around again. And that's something I've been doing to improve. It can improve just about any drawing you do, is flip it and see if it looks out of balance or out of whack. And if it does, I'm using the liquefied tool to try to fix it, but you can actually use anything. It doesn't matter what you do to fix it. The important thing is that you get it back in balance. Okay, now I'm going to try to draw or color this in. I may speed this up and play some music. I'm always trying to get better. There's a lot of things I need to learn, and I have a lot of room to improve. My goal is to get a little bit better every day, and I hope you do the same. Thanks.